as we can see there. And also finally, the amount for PAYG should correspond to the payroll report as well. We can then process that journal entry. What will happen now is we should have the amount sitting in the bank. So if we go to the bank account here in the general ledger for account 20, we should see as of the 31st of March, there it is there, the journal for the BAS payment, and that'll show up on the bank reconciliation too, and you'll be able to tick that off once the check is presented. And we should also now see, if we run a balance sheet for that particular date out of the reports console, so the balance sheet out of your system should be in the general ledger section as well. If you're running a non-Autosoft system, have a look in that area, the general ledgery kind of area of your reports. Run that for the 31st of March. We'll just run that to screen and we'll see here what's happened. We can see now that account 1200 is no longer there because it has a zero balance. And if we go and have a look over the page, we should see that there's no longer a balance for the GST collected either, because what's happened is we've net those amounts off. So what happens is if we run those reports again for the next day, as of the next day we should see the transactions just from the 1st of April coming on and starting in that system. So what we might do is we might have a look at now doing the end period, which is the 30th of June, so which is the next period. Now that's nearly up to where I'm at. It's the 17th of June now, but I'll run this as of the 30th of June and pretend that this is the next period, if you like. So what I'll do is I'll run the BAS totals report again, but this time it's for the next quarter. So if I run that from the 1st of April to the end of June, or I could have run it as of today, but the end of June, for all branches there, just the build one company I'm going to run that for. What I can see now is I've got some new totals here. I've got $5,488.49 as the GST collected, $10,383.39 as the GST that's been paid. Now, what I can also do is I can get the payroll totals for the next period. So I can come in here and run this from the 1st of April as well, up until the end of June. And I can run that to screen. And what I get there is a total PAYG $1,767, which should correspond also back into my balance sheet. So I've got the 1, 2, 3 totals, PAYG, GST paid, and the GST collected again. So if I run the reports as of the end of June, what you'll notice is because we've net everything off back to zero as of the 31st of March, when we come in and run these again, instead of us seeing all the transactions right from the start of the period, we get them again just per the period that we're actually looking at. So there's the $1,767 for the PAYG, $5,488 for GST collected, and the GST paid in the balance sheet there of $10,383.40. So in this case, what happens is it gives us a net BAS refund which is due. Now I'm going to show you how you can use the journal to do the same thing for a refund. So back into the journal entry again, and I'm going to put in the BAS refund due for the 30th of June 2010. So I'll make that the 30th of the 6th 2010, and this time once again we pick up the bank, so account 1020, which is the bank account that we're going to expect to get the refund into, and I'm going to post an amount there of 3127.90. so this is the refund I expect to get. Now, just the same as before, I'm going to use 2120 as the PAYG. So there was a credit balance of PAYG of 1767, so I'm going to post the debit. And there's a GST paid balance of $10,383.39. So I'm going to pick up account 1200 for GST paid, and I'm going to credit that to take the debit off the balance sheet, 10,383.39, and I'm also going to pick up the GST collected, which was account 2050. I'm going to post a debit for that amount of 5488.49. And once again, what we get is a balanced journal. So it's the three factors again. It's PAYG, GST paid, GST collected, and the bank. Now you can add as many other things onto there as you like. You might have PAYG instalments due for company tax. You might have luxury car tax payable. There's many other things that may be on the BAS that you have to pay. Now the idea is that you add those on there, and obviously the amount you're paying or expecting for refund will change. So it's the net of these factors which determines the BAS payment or refund. And the best way to do it is, as I've done here, is with a journal, because either for a refund or a payable, it's the same methodology, just the amount at the top here flicks to either debit or credit, whether you're expecting either a refund or a BAS payment. So I'm going to post those through, and what will happen again now is if we run the balance sheet for that end of the 30th of June again there, what we'll see happen is the GST paid goes back to 0, in this case 1 cent there, just from the rounding. And over the page there, we can see account 2050 no longer has a balance in it. So we've once again netted everything back to 0, and we should have the amount sitting there in the bank account for the in the general ledger. So if we go into account 1020 there, we'll see the BAS refund due, and that'll be sitting there in the bank rec as well. So we've netted those things off, taken them back to either a payment or a refund in the bank balance. And if you consistently follow this method, reconciling your GST should be very simple. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, you may notice that your totals between your GST balances or GST amounts reports don't tie back to your balance sheet. And there's reasons for that, in that maybe the initial entry was never cleared. There could be journals posted. What you need to do is focus on just reconciling the period you're looking at. So work with reconciling the movement. You'll have to go back to your accountants and let them know that, okay, we want to clear up this amount from when we began the system, or there's an amount here from many years gone by where I've never actually cleared this off, and in some cases there may be years upon years of balances built up in both the GST paid and GST collected accounts, and they've never been offset against one another. What you really want to do is work with your accountant to get those cleared up. Then if you follow this practice I've shown you in this clip here, you should have no more problems in the future with reconciling your BAS payment and making sure that you're paying the correct amount to the tax office.